Alright, Mr. Beard here. Today we're going to talk about direct objects and subject complements, how to recognize them in a sentence, how to diagram them, and then how to use them yourself in a sentence, because that is the ultimate goal, is to help you with your own writing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the difference between action verbs and linking verbs, but I'll give you the basics. Action verbs are actions that can be performed physically or mentally. Example, the buyer studied the cows carefully. Studied can be both a physical action, getting in place to study them. It can be a mental action, just watching them and paying attention. So it is both categories, and it is of course then a action verb. So as always, the first thing we need to identify is what's the subject. Well, the subject is the buyer. The reason we know that is the buyer is the one performing the action. And the action, of course, is studied. My advice right here, once you know the subject and the predicate, go ahead and write those on the diagram, because the entire point of diagrams, guys, is to see what's going on in a sentence. So let's see so far what is going on. My handwriting is terrible, but if you've ever been in my class or watched my videos, you know this already. Alright, so now we know the basics of the sentence. We know subject, predicate, and we know we're doing direct objects, so we know there's one in the sentence. So what is receiving this action of studying? What is receiving that action? What is being studied? Well, of course, it's the cows. So the buyer studied the cows. Cows receive the action, which means they are direct objects. We've got the basics of this sentence, and we know everything else is modifying. Everything else is a mod. The is modifying the subject. The is modifying the direct object. And carefully ends in ly, and we know ly words are most often adverbs, which means they most often mod verbs. And in this case, that is 100% true. So carefully is modifying the verb studied. Okay, so far so good. This does not seem to be a problem, at least for my students. When they know they are tackling direct objects, piece of cake. The difficulty comes when they have to identify the difference between direct objects and subject complements. The hardest part of this seems to be identifying a linking verb versus an action verb. When is it an action verb? When is it a linking verb? We already said action verbs are something that can be performed physically or emotionally. Linking verbs act then as equal signs. If I said Odysseus is strong, we are literally saying, I'm not going to write it out, I'll just say Odie is strong. Odie equals strong. They are one and the same. Odysseus equals the adjective strong. He is that thing. He embodies that thing. You can, if it was a mathematical formula, you could put in equals there. Just like x equals 9, Odysseus equals strong. So when identifying a sentence and trying to figure out if it's an action verb or a linking verb, you have to ask, could I put an equal sign there and would it make sense? In our last sentence, the buyer studied the cows carefully. Could I put the buyer equals cows? No. That'd be a little weird, and it would certainly change the meaning of the sentence. So we know then that it is an action verb, it is not a linking verb. Okay, so we've got the basics down on identifying the difference between an AVP versus an LVP, action verb predicate versus linking verb predicate. Now let's go ahead and see it in action and diagram it. In this sentence, Odysseus is shrewd and strong. We have to first identify our verb. What is the thing that is an equal sign? Well, it obviously is. Is the equal sign combining Odysseus to shrewd and strong. I picked a compound subject complement on purpose, but Odysseus, of course, is the thing doing this action. He's our subject, so I'll write him on there again. I'll write Odysseus out. Odie is shrewd and strong. So we know the subject, we know the predicate. The rest falls into place thereafter. Shrewd and strong are going to go here. Now, students freak out when they see this, and I did too. When I was in high school and we first started doing this, So it's very understandable. Like, what does this mean? The verb goes here. This line, for whatever reason, when you take it and slant it, students, their minds go and freak out a little bit. That's okay. All this is doing, the reason it's slanted, is it's drawing a direct throwback, saying these two equal. Shrewd and strong equal Odysseus. Because it's a subject, it's a compound, subject complement, I'm going to go ahead and draw that. My coordinated conjunction, shrewd, strong, both of those equal Odysseus. So there you have it. I've got several examples on the website that this is posted. Students, if you're struggling with this, I want you to go back through the examples now. And if you are not struggling with this, you can stop it here. If you are struggling, I'm going to walk you through a couple examples. Okay, example 1. The farmer planted the seeds in the field. Is it an action verb or a linking verb? Could we say farmer equals seeds? No. Is planting something you can do physically or emotionally? Yes. So it is an action verb. So we know planted is a verb. We know farmer is the thing doing the action. So I'm going to write farmer as my subject, planted as my action verb predicate. And what is receiving the action of the planting? Well, the seeds are. Seeds will go as my direct object. And then the, make things fall into place here, is modifying farmer. The is modifying seeds. Now, the poop here, we say poop because preposition and object of preposition. Preposition is in, object of preposition is field. In the field, what is that doing? What is that modifying? Is it modifying seeds? No, it's telling us where he planted the seeds. So it's acting adverbally. I'll put in field. Again, object of preposition is field. The goes there. So that is a direct object example. Now we're going to go ahead and do the next one, which is a subject complement example. That film is a waste of time. Well, we know is always is our linking verb. Always acts as an equal sign. Film equals waste. We know it's an equal sign. So film is my subject, is my verb, waste is my subject complement, and then you can go ahead, fill in the rest of time. I'll tell you is a prepositional phrase. So hopefully this has made finding and diagramming subject complements and direct objects a little easier for you. I know these are a bane for some people's grammar existence. I know this is not the easiest part of grammar, nor the most fun, but the idea that you can identify when something is an action verb and a linking verb is very important. And it'll help you both as a reader and as a writer. And my best advice to you is to come up with your own sentences. Use action verbs with direct objects. Come up with some fun sentences, be creative, and then come up with sentences that use subject complements. When you start to do that, when you start to really put it into practice, it'll all start to make more sense to you. But you can do this, and you can dominate grammar. Thanks for listening.